Welcome back. We're up to the 10th part, yes, 10th part of the narrative of Mary Prince, our enslaved ancestor from Bermuda, who's currently in England in the story. I'll continue. When I came away, I went to the man, one called Mash, who used to black the shoes of the family, and asked his wife to get somebody to go with me to Hatton Garden to the Moravian missionaries. They were the only persons I knew in England. The woman sent a young girl with me to the mission house, and I saw there a gentleman called Mr. Moore. I told him my whole story and how my owners had treated me, and asked him to take in my trunk with what few clothes I had. The missionaries were very kind to me. They were sorry for my destitute situation and gave me leave to bring my things to be placed under their care. They were very good people, and they told me to come to church. When I came back to Mr. Wood's to get my trunk, I saw a lady, Mrs. Pell, who was on visit to my mistress. When Mr. and Mrs. Wood heard me come in, they set this lady to stop me, finding that they had gone too far with me. Mrs. Pell came to me and said, "Are you really going to leave, Molly? Don't leave, but come into the country with me." I believe she said this because she thought Mrs. Woods could easily get me back again. I replied to her, "Ma'am, this is the 4th time my master and mistress have driven me out, or threatened to drive me out, and I will give them no more occasion to bid me go. I was not willing to leave them, for I am a stranger in this country. But now I must go. I can stay no longer to be used." Mrs. Bell then went up the stairs with my mistress and told that I would go, and she could not stop me. Mrs. Woods was very much hurt and frightened when she found I was determined to go out that day. She said if she goes, the people will rob her and then turn her adrift. She did not say this to me, but she spoke it loud enough for me to hear, that it might induce me not to go, I suppose. Mr. Woods also asked me where I was going to. I told him where I had been and that I should never have gone away had I not been driven out by my owners. He had given me a written paper some time before, which said that I had come with them to England by my own desire, and that was true. It said also I left them of my own free will, because I was a free woman in England, and that I was idle and would not do my work, which was not true. I gave this paper afterwards to a gentleman who inquired into my case. I went into the kitchen and got my clothes out. The nurse and the servant girl were there. I said to the man who was going to take out my trunk, "Stop, before you take up this trunk and hear what I have to say before these people. I'm going out of this house as I was ordered, but I have done no wrong at all to my owners, neither here nor in the West Indies. I always work very hard to please them, both by night and day, but there is no giving satisfaction, for my mistress could never be satisfied with reasonable service. I told my mistress I was sick, and yet she ordered me out of doors. This is the 4th time, and now I'm going out." And so I came out and went and carried my trunk to the Moravians, and then returned back to Mash, the shoeblack's house, and begged his wife to take me in. I had a little West Indian money in my trunk, and they got it changed for me. This helped to support me for a little while. The man's wife was very kind to me. I was very sick, and she boiled nourishing things for me. She also sent for a doctor to see me, and he sent me medicine, which did me good, though I was ill for a long time with the rheumatic pains. I lived a good many months with these poor people, and they nursed me and did all that lay in their power to serve me. The man was well acquainted with my situation, as he used to go to and fro Mr. Wood's house to clean shoes and knives. He and his wife were sorry for me. About this time, a woman of the name of Hill told me of the Anti-Slavery Society and went with me to their office to inquire if they could do anything to get my freedom and send me back to the West Indies. The gentleman of the society took me to a lawyer who examined very strictly into my case, but told me that the laws of England could do nothing to make me free in Antigua. However, they did all they could for me. They gave me a little money from time to time to keep me from want, and some of them went to Mr. Wood to try to persuade him to let me return a free woman to my husband. But though they offered him, as I have heard, a large sum for my freedom, he was sulky and obstinate and would not consent to let me go free. This was the first winter I spent in England, and I suffered much from the severe cold and from the rheumatic pains, which still at times torment me. However, Providence was very good to me, and I got many friends, especially some Quaker ladies, who, hearing of my case, came and sought me out and gave me good warm clothing and money. Thus I had great cause to bless God in my affliction. When I got better, I was anxious to get some work to do, as I was unwilling to eat the bread of idleness. Mrs. Mash, who was a laundress, recommended me to a lady for a charwoman. She paid me very handsomely for what work I did, and I divided the money with Mrs. Mash. For though very poor, they gave me food when my money was done, and never suffered me to want. In the spring, I got into the service with a lady who saw me the house where I sometimes worked as a charwoman. This lady's name was Mrs. Forsyth. She had been in the West Indies and was accustomed to black people and liked them. I was with her 6 months and went with her to Margate. She treated me well and gave me a good character when she left London. After Mrs. Forsyth went away, I was again out of place and went to lodgings, for which I paid 2 shillings a week and found coals and candle. After 11 weeks, the money I had saved in service was all gone. I was forced to go back to the Anti-Slavery Society to ask for a new supply till I could get another situation. I did not like to go back. I did not like to be idle. I'd rather work for my living than get it for nothing. They were very good to give me supply, but I felt shame at being obliged to apply for relief whilst I had strength to work. At last, I went into the service of Mr. and Mrs. Pringle, where I've been ever since, and as comfortable as I can be while separated from my dear husband and away from my own country and all old friends and connections. My dear mistress teaches me daily to read the Word of God and takes great pain to make me understand it. I enjoy the great privilege of being enabled to attend churches 3 times on Sundays, and I've met with many kind friends since I've been here, both clergymen and others. The Reverend Mr. Young, who lives in the next house, has shown me much kindness and taken much pains to instruct me, particularly when my master and mistress were absent in Scotland. Nor must I forget among friends the Reverend Mr. Mortimer, the good clergyman of the parish, under whose ministry I've now sat for upwards of 12 months. I trust in God I've profited by what I've heard from him. He never keeps back the truth. I think he's been the means of opening my eyes and ears much better to understand the Word of God. Mr. Mortimer tells me that he cannot open the eyes of my heart, but that I must pray to God to change my heart and make me to know the truth, and the truth will make me free. So I see her beating up herself a lot for not being able to work. And I think that's a part of enslavement. The people enslaving you, you think it's okay for them to rest in idleness, but you must work yourself to death because that's all you're worth, right? And we keep up those worldviews now that we're many years away from slavery. We work ourselves to death. So I'm going to stop here. Thanks for listening.